What's going on, gang? Welcome back to the Social Club where everyone has a voice. I'm your host today with the most to say. That's Sergio on set. And this week, with the NFL draft coming to a close, I want to review what last weekend's festivities were all about. No, I'm not going to be getting into the Shadur situation. I think we've covered enough on that. If not us, the entire internet has already. As you see, I'm in my Chiefs gear, so I want to talk about Veach and company's decisions on who should make the Chiefs roster for the 2025 season and years to come. But you guys know the deal, man. Before we get into the good stuff, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, TikTok. We are on literally everything. And if you just type in Social Club, it's hard not to find us. But for those who have already jumped onto the movement, we want to say thank you. We appreciate all the subscribers, all the followers that have already joined along. I mean, April was an incredible month for us here at the Social Club, guys. Thank you for helping us reach these milestones. We still got so many more to go. Now, we can jump right into it, guys. I mean, there's no way around it. The Chiefs needed a bit of a soft reset after last season. I mean, if we're not going to consider, the embarrassing Super Bowl loss to the Eagles, we can talk about the regular season in itself. I mean, scraping by all those wins, don't get me wrong, it's impressive. I love to see the clutch factor still in play. But man, I mean, it was obvious that the Chiefs had a major setback on the offensive side of the ball. That goes from Rashee Rice getting injured to Patrick having a down year, Isaiah Pacheco getting injured. I mean, and this brought so many concerns, so many questions to the table about how the Chiefs were going to approach the offseason, especially after we saw some big names leaving out the door. Now, with that said, I do want to take a moment for an honorable mention to the guys we did lose in the offseason. Let's start out with guard Joe Thuney. I mean, man, thank you for everything you did for Chiefs organization. You were an incredible piece of those Super Bowl victories we got. Thank you for the protection you provided, Pat. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl, but you own that at least. You own that in the post-game interview. I'll give you that. That takes a man. But thank you for what you've done for the organization. I know you're going to do great things at Chicago. Probably give Caleb Williams exactly what he needs to really flourish. So best of luck to you going forward. Justin Reed, man, I'll be honest, I didn't really feel all that great about Justin Reed at first. I mean, coming from the Texans, he was a decent safety. He was pretty good, but I will say I'm a Tyrann Mathieu fan, LSU fan at heart, and when we lost the Honey Badger, it broke me. I was very upset. But with that, Tyrann had a very special role in this defense. He was very much of a leader, and just to re-step into those shoes filled him incredibly, and he was an incredible player for his time with us. Justin is going to be different without you back there, but I am excited to see how the rookie Jaden Hicks steps into the role. So best of luck to you as well, man. All great things. We got some other names on the roster we lost. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, we had him for a year. Thanks for what you did in the season, man. I mean, you were great throughout those games, especially after losing Rashee. I know the Super Bowl obviously wasn't the greatest performance, but I'm not going to put that on you entirely, although a couple catches could have made a difference, but we're not going to get into that now. Thanks for joining the squad when you did. It was great to have you. I wish you the best with your endeavors with Baltimore, but if we see you get in the AFC Championship, it's like that. I'm sorry. We also lost McCole Hardman. That was going to happen at some point anyway. Another one that comes to mind, Justin Watson. Justin, you weren't really much of like an impact player, but you were a reliable receiver. We leaned on you a lot on third and long, and you might only have one or two catches a game, if that, but they might be the most important catches we need. So thanks for your time in Kansas City. Wish you the best going forward to your endeavors too, man. I think I speak for the entire kingdom when I say that. Now, some other guys we lost as well. Defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton. We lost defensive tackle Derek Nottie. We lost Samaje Perine. We even lost Carson Wentz at backup. I mean, and I'm just painting the picture, and I do want to finish my last thought. Thank you for all the time that you guys have with the Chiefs and what you did for us. But obviously, we had a lot of gaps to fill. I mean, that's a decent amount. We're talking offensive lineman, defensive lineman, edge, safety. We had some depth issues at cornerback. Wide receiver room looked real slim last year as well too. With Pacheco going down, we leaned on Kareem, which Kareem definitely was. He held his own the first half of the season. That was awesome. But we even needed running backs back there. I mean, we're talking about gaps we needed to fill from literally the backfield of the running back to the downfield of the safety position. Now, what I'm going to be doing as I go through last weekend's draft selections, I'll be visiting each round, giving my personal analysis, overall grade of this pick, why I think this pick made sense or didn't, and then ultimately I'm going to be giving a grade in the end as well too. So let's jump right into it. Let's go ahead and take a moment, just a moment of silence to thank sweet baby Jesus above for giving us Josh Simmons Wow, that was an incredible pick in the first round. It is absolutely what we needed to get out of the first round. And not only Josh Simmons and himself, it was the way we got the pick. I mean, that was a masterclass trading that pick off to Philly to get number 31. We picked up that extra fifth rounder, which definitely benefited us down the line as well too, which I'll get into later. But Josh Simmons, I mean, the kid has an abnormal ability to protect the pass. He has got quick feet. He's choppy, knows how to take his leverage steps. He keeps his leverage through his blocks. I mean, this guy is special, and it is exactly what we needed, especially after last year's Super Bowl loss. So I'm very excited to see how he's going to play into the role. He'll likely turn out to be, it's not crazy to say he might be the most talented player that we picked up out of this draft. And I think it may go down in history as that being the case. But altogether, I think this was absolutely needed. Veach and Company, wonderful job grabbing this guy in the first round. This one's getting a smooth A+ from Serge. Now, next up, we've got the 63rd pick out of Tennessee. That's Omar Norman Lott. This was a good pickup. I feel really good about this guy. He's a bit undersized, but he is quick to snap off the ball. He knows how to pursue through the backfield. I think ultimately that he'll be somebody that gets repped in a lot of Spags sub packages. I think the intention here was to still provide some pressure from the edge without having to have Chris Jones on the field. I get Chris Jones is an absolute menace, and don't get me wrong, his spot is solidified, but he's not getting any younger. And I think that this is an attempt to get him some less reps, some more breathers. That way we can lean on him a bit more in those big moments on defense. But with that too, I think that we got an absolute dog out of the second round. Altogether, everything considered, Veach and Company, this one's getting an A for me. I think that this guy is great. I think he's what we needed this position to provide some depth. And he's mad talented. I mean, the guy, he can provide pressure from the interior D-line. He can get it from the outside. The most impressive trait about the guy, he literally explodes off the ball. And he's hungry. He's trying to get to the quarterback. He's trying to get to the running back. When he's in that backfield, he's trying to take off a helmet. So that's exactly the kind of energy we need. Absolute great pick. Next up, we've got the 66th pick out of Louisville, Ashton Gelati. I'll be honest, guys, I got a bit of a love-hate relationship with this pick. Not at all because I think it was a bad choice. I think, honestly, it was the better choice to make. But I was really hoping we went with something different here in the third round that I'll come back around to later. But with all that considered, it just made too much sense not to add this kid to the Chiefs' defense. He's already in the mold of one of our star players, George Karlaftis. They share a college coach, and in that they play a lot of the same kind of way. He's a powerful edge rusher. He gets to the quarterback. He makes the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. This kid is very talented for what he does. I'll say, looking back at film, he tends to get caught up on blocks. It's an area of improvement for him that I'm sure he'll find in his rookie season. Even with that in mind, it's him shedding blocks, countering blocks after the bull rush attempt doesn't really work out. I think that would be an area of improvement for him, and he has to understand that there's a lot more speed when he's going up against these offensive tackles. He's in good hands with George and this Chiefs defense, and I know Spags is going to be using him in a lot of sub packages. Everything put into place, I'm going to give this one a strong B+. I think this was an incredible addition to the Chiefs defense and definitely answers for the lack of pressure we were creating last year from the D-line. But with that, I still feel like, if I'm being honest, I wanted a running back this round, but we'll come back to that later. Next, we jump even later into the rounds at the 133rd pick out of Utah State, Jalen Royals. I got to be honest, I'm actually pretty excited about this kid. He's a jack-of-all-trades kind of guy, not super dominant in any one aspect of being a receiver, but he's got size, he's got height. I think he could fill in Rasheed's shoes whenever they're getting reps over there, but I see him to be a very solid wide receiver 3, and he's got very impressive body control. I mean, he only played 2 years at the collegiate level. Let's consider that. With that in mind, this kid is quick to get off the ball. He runs his routes very sharp. He usually makes the first guy miss when he's in open field engagements. Like, he's somebody we can rely on first and second down to catch a curl, catch a slant. And even he's got a nice release. He's a pretty decent vertical threat. So I think this gives us some very talented depth at the wide receiver room, especially after losing McCole, DeAndre, and Justin in the offseason. Really excited for how this guy pans out in Kansas City. I think ultimately we'll see his name get called lightly as we kind of unravel into the new season. But when he does get it called, I think we're going to see some explosive plays out of this guy. So Veach and Company, giving this one an A-. I think Jalen Rose was a great late round pickup. Wonderful job with this one. Next, we've got the 156th pick out of Oregon, Jeffrey Bassa. This guy is a dog. Now, I think he's still got some area of improvement, but the key things I really do like about this guy is that this does answer for quite a few elements that we were lacking in our defense after the last season. He's a safety turn linebacker. He's very well versed in zone coverages at the second level. He's a pretty decent threat in man coverage as well too. He keeps his leverage when he's pursuing. He knows how to make the tackle in the backfield. Not the quickest to get off the ball, but he's going to make sure he gets to the ball every time. He's got a great technique shedding blocks. He knows how to get through the interior line to get in the backfield and blow up a play. I think that his blessing and his curse is that he is behind both Tranquil and obviously Nick Bolton. I think that the light at the end of the tunnel is that he's getting to learn from two of the greatest dogs we have on defense. I think that he sees some sub-package reps. I think him being at the linebacker position, we come out in dime or nickel, he might get the chance to get on the field, but I think ultimately he's going to be learning from both Bolton and Tranquil in his first year to get the roots, kind of get the hang of how we run defense over at Chiefs Kingdom, and I think in the long run he could turn out to be somebody that's a very impactful player. Now, given that I don't see him to be somebody that makes some noise off the jump, and that he does still have some room for improvement, whereas I think that could be something he does develop over his time here at Kansas City, I'm giving him a B- on this pick for Veach and Company. I understand the purpose, provided some depth at the position again, especially with the talent this guy does have. I mean, this bridges the gap between our starters and our second string. But with all that in mind, sticking with the B-, Veach and Company, good job. Now, lastly, we've got the running back out of SMU with the 228th pick, Brashard Smith. Now, I got to be honest. This is, I get why they picked him up. His coach liked to refer to him a lot as Isaiah Pacheco, and as much as it pains me to say, I do think Pacheco's time in Kansas City is limited. I think that it will be something we'll have to see how his season kind of unfolds. As all Chiefs fans know, he came back in the postseason last year, and he was not nearly as explosive as we wanted or needed him to be. He has the receiving talent of Pacheco. The kid is not a running back. It's weird. He's not a rushing running back. He's got very light yardage on the ground if you look at his stats from the collegiate level. And he is a receiving back. I'll give him that. He's a wide receiver turn running back, and he usually runs from the slot. His routes are very sharp. He makes a tough catch. So it is somebody that adds some diversity to, what happens in the backfield on this offense. But ultimately, I don't see him being a huge impact player. Obviously, we needed a running back coming into the draft, and personally, I wish it would have been earlier that we snagged somebody, maybe with the Ashton Jelani pick. But again, that's neither here nor there. I think that, somebody like a Devin Neal or a Taj Brooks, in a perfect world, it'd be Travion Henderson, but obviously that wasn't going to happen. So with all that in mind, I think that, he's going to be somebody that touches practice squad first year. We've still got Pacheco on roster. We still got Kareem. We still got Carson Steele. We did pick up Elijah Mitchell. So he's not going to be touching the field anytime soon. But I think if he does, it's going to be, third downs he's getting to pass out the backfield, screen passes, that kind of thing. But ultimately, I don't see this kid really making a ton of noise. So maybe I'm a bit biased because I had my eyes set on some other running backs. But Veach and Company, this guy gets a C+ out of me. And really the plus is just because I like you, if I'm being honest. Now, when I look at the grand scheme of it all, I look at each selection, each pick, why we picked them, where they're going to make an impact. I will say I'm happy with the results of the draft this year. It's Veach doing what Veach does. If you look at this Chiefs generation, or Chiefs era, I should say, it comes from selective and very successful drafting. Look at the biggest names we've got on the team: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, Isaiah Pacheco at one point. These aren't guys we're trading for. It's very, very rare we're making big name trades or blockbuster trades. And, DeAndre Hopkins was one that we got, last year that was actually pretty exciting. We picked him up. But, it's not common we're going to be, snagging up a big name once we see that touch board. We're digging through the draft, trying to find those guys that'll bloom into stars out of the late rounds. And we've got those picks that we can really spare to use. But with all that in mind, I think that we had a very quiet but successful draft. We answered a lot of questions. We filled a lot of gaps. We got some very good talent that's on the team coming into this 2025 season. Veach and Company, I'm giving you a B- for this draft. I think that we got some gems. Josh Simmons is going to be an absolute menace. Omar Norman Lott, I think he's going to make a big impact. Noel Williams, he's going to be a star. Mark my words, save the clip, bookmark a comment. I don't know, do whatever you want, but mark my words, Noel Williams will be a star in this league. We still got the receiver, Jalen Royal. I think that he's going to do great things when he gets the chance to touch the field as well, too. So ultimately, very satisfied with this 2025 draft by the Chiefs. How I think this will impact the season, I'll be truthfully honest, I'm not too sure. I want to say that it gets us back to the bowl, but man, I got to see these guys in preseason do something because wow, it's after last year, it raises a lot of eyebrows. But I think we're still coming out the AFC. I'll stand down that hill. Who we're going to see at the top, who knows? But I think that we do got a chance to make it back this year, even after last year's shenanigans and messing around, fooling around. It's something we just had to keep you guys on your toes. So I say stick around to the end of the season. We'll revisit this video then. But with all that said, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank you for tapping into another time here with the Social Club and myself. But before I do go, I do want to hear from you down in the comments and have a bit of a conversation. How do you think your teams did this draft class? Do you think your teams did, A, B, C, D? Is there some hope at the end of the tunnel, or is all hope lost after the draft? And if you think they did do a pretty good job, who's going to be the guy that makes a difference on your team? How is that going to impact the season coming up for you? Let's unravel it because I'm really excited for the 2025 season. I think we've got a lot of great things going on. Let me know where your thoughts are at with your organizations. But with all that said, that's going to do it for today's episode. Again, I am Serge, your host today with the most to say. And this has been the Social Club. And until next time, go Chiefs.